What if I told you your social media audience speaks in a secret language and they don't even know it? It's the language of engagement, the subconscious triggers that make people click, comment, and convert. Once you understand it, you'll never look at your content creation the same way again. Today, we're breaking down the psychology behind why people take action online and how to use it to ethically create posts that not only get attention, but also build trust. It's showtime. Let's get started. Creating consistent, engaging social media content shouldn't feel like rocket science. I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs go from I don't know what to post to I've got this, using simple, easy to implement steps that make a big difference. I'm Maggie Carey, and welcome to the Painless Posting podcast. We've all been there. We spend an hour on a post. We swear we'll crush it, only to get 3 likes and a pity comment from your cousin in Albuquerque. It's frustrating, right? Here's the thing. Most business owners know their message, but they don't know the mental mechanics that make people respond to it. This isn't about tricking anyone. It's about understanding human nature so you can deliver value in a way that, in this episode, I'm going to walk you through 5 different engagement drivers, the psychological forces behind why people actually stop scrolling, click, and take action. These aren't random tips. They're backed by behavioral science and used by top marketers, sales experts, authors, and yes, even your favorite social media strategist. And make sure you stick around because at the end, I'm going to share a shortcut you can use to quickly analyze and strengthen your posts using these exact principles. So let's get started with me explaining what each of these engagement drivers are and how you can use them in your social media. So the first engagement driver is the curiosity gap. The psychology behind this is that our brains hate unfinished stories. In Contagious by Jonah Berger, he explains that a knowledge gap compels people to seek closure, clicking, reading, or watching to fill it. That's why when you see a social media post that has a video that starts with the beginning of a project and it evolves until the end, we want to watch it all the way through. It's storytelling at its finest. Now, a way you can do this with your captions in a social media post is to say, instead of me saying something like 5 tips for better Instagram engagement, I can say the Instagram engagement trick I almost didn't share. It's the same value, but curiosity drives the click. The second engagement driver is primal triggers. This is the fear, scarcity, social proof, getting back to those primal things that drove the caveman. They're still alive and well in our brains, people. The psychology behind this is very well explained in the book Influence. In this book, Dr. Robert Cialdini explains loss aversion. Loss aversion is the idea that the pain of losing something is twice as strong as the joy of gaining it. Wow. Massive, mind-blowing, right? Scarcity and urgency light up the same part of the brain as danger. So it makes people act fast. Social proof reassures them they're making the safe choice. In Influence, Robert tells a story about hotels asking guests to reuse towels. When the sign said, "Help save the environment by reusing your towel," participation was decent. But when they changed it to 75% of guests in this hotel reuse their towel, reuse rates jumped dramatically. Why? Because when we are unsure of what to do, we follow the crowd. Sorry to say, those things we may have done in high school are still alive and well in our social media. Once I had this complimentary workshop, and I really wanted to have more people register for it. And I just wasn't getting the response that I was hoping for. So I changed my wording a little bit and I said, seats are filling up fast. Register today so you don't lose your space. Now, my registration jumped and I sold more with that one email than I had done in the other emails I had sent out prior to it. How can you use this concept in your social media? Well, share real deadlines or availability limits and pair them with proof others have already said yes. Things like testimonials or screenshots or photos of happy clients. These are all really great ways to use those primal triggers. The third engagement driver is emotional resonance. The psychology behind this is humans make decisions emotionally first, logically second. Storytelling builds empathy, which builds trust. When people feel something, they remember it and act on it. When I first started Master It Media, it was an IT agency. I had taken a picture of myself creating content the night before Thanksgiving one day while I was at work. And I had set up my phone and took a picture of me working on my computer. Back then, I thought, oh, wow, this is a great photo of me working. But actually, I use it now in a totally different way. I use it to say, here I was the night before Thanksgiving trying to figure out social media. I was frustrated, spent hours and hours creating content that didn't end up landing, and I lost valuable time with my family because of it. That journey resonates with people. So many people know the feeling of creating content for their social media, missing out on valuable time, doing things that they love to do because they feel like they have to spend hours creating their content. And then, of course, I take it and say, hey, I've got a better way of doing this. So you don't have to spend all this time and stress and energy doing your social media. That's the story that builds that empathetic connection between me and my followers. I know what they're going through because I went through it. So, how can you use this in your social media? Well, share client transformations, behind the scenes struggles, or lessons learned, just like I did. Inspire with hope, relate with honesty, and guide them from frustration to solution. The fourth engagement driver is cognitive shortcuts. These are those biases. Our brains love shortcuts. Anchoring bias means the first number or fact you share sets the frame for everything else. Framing effective means the way you present information can make the same fact feel positive or negative. I once shared this in a social media post. A client who implemented this system saved 5 hours a week. Same system, same outcome, but when I framed it as stop wasting 20 hours a month, the engagement doubled. Do you see how reframing this helps? Now, I like to stay positive, but sometimes doesn't always hit that psychological trigger that we're hoping to get that click for. So we have to look in our social media to reframe things a little bit. So here's something you can apply in your social media. Reframe benefits in a way that highlight the gain or the loss avoided. Test two versions of the same post, one with the positive framing, one with the negative, and see which performs better. This is why having a tool like Painless Posting is amazing, because you can do these posts, set them up, and then look at the analytics across multiple platforms. Always look at your analytics. What may work positively on one platform may work in the negative tone in the other. Go figure, my friends. But that is the way to create consistent social media content that engages on the platform that you're creating it on. The fifth engagement driver is call to action psychology. This is where people act when the next step is clear, urgent, and feels viable. If your CTA is vague, people will scroll away, even if they loved your content. I once saw two versions of the same ad. I know we all get slammed with these ads on our social media, but one ended with, "Click here to learn more." The other one ended with, "Save your seat now, registration closes on Friday." I bet you can guess which one must have performed better. I know which one I wanted to click. That urgency, these things build upon our emotions, and this is where psychology comes into play. Let's take a look at our social media and how we can apply this. When you are creating your social media, be specific about the benefit they get and when they need to act. Instead of "download my guide," say something like, "Get your copy today and start saving 5 hours a week." Give them the reason why, not just the action. So those are the 5 engagement drivers: the curiosity gap, the primal triggers, which are fear, scarcity, and social proof; emotional resonance, where we relate and connect to our audience; cognitive shortcuts, those biases that anchor in fact; and our call to action psychology. You can use these 5 elements with a shortcut I am now going to share with you. You can use AI to run your caption or headline through a psychology check before you post. So you can give your AI of choice the following prompt: "Analyze the following social media post and tell me which of these 5 engagement drivers it uses: curiosity gap, primal triggers, emotional resonance, cognitive shortcuts, or CTA psychology. Suggest one way to strengthen it for higher clicks and conversion." Now you can take what it says and modify your posts appropriately. Maybe you're using more than one psychological trigger in that post. So here are some key takeaways from today. Lead with curiosity. Give them just enough to want more. Leverage urgency and proof. Scarcity plus social validation drives that quick action. Make them feel it. Emotion fuels memory and decision making. Frame it wisely. The first impression sets the tone, and end with clarity. A vague CTA is the fastest way to lose momentum. The best content doesn't just look good, it feels irresistible because it speaks to how our brains are wired. When you start blending curiosity, primal motivators, emotion, smart framing, and clear CTAs, you stop chasing engagement and you start creating it. That's what we want out of our social media. Do you want additional help on how to turn these psychological triggers into captions that actually connect? Grab a copy of my Help Process Guidebook at thehelpprocess.com. You'll learn how to hook attention, explore pain points your audience actually cares about, lay out your solution, and prompt them to take action. So your posts don't just get clicks, they get connections. You can get your complimentary copy at thehelpprocess.com. I so hope that you enjoyed today's episode of the Painless Posting podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps other business owners discover these shortcuts too. Until next time, keep your posting painless and your engagement powerful.